Welcome to the Heat of Command podcast, Mastering the Art of Fire Service Leadership,
where we, your hosts, aim to teach you how to use introspection and self-reflection to be your most authentic, genuine self, leader, and human being.
And now, here are your hosts. This is Kyle Matusik.
And Kerry Henderson. Thanks for joining. Happy Monday to our Heat of Command podcast listeners. We are freshly back from TEAC's Leadership Development Symposium, where we had an amazing and very productive 3 or 4 days. I think Kyle was there for 36 hours.
Yeah, it was a quick one.
We got a lot accomplished, met a lot of wonderful people and a lot of networking. And we say it there, but it's worth saying again here is we are so thankful for the TEAC's community and the hospitality and allowing all of the first year Darley essay contest winners, all of the first place winners, all of the first place winners of the Darley essay contest every year to come and speak.
Plus me though. Like I'm starting to feel like
I'm sorry.
I'm starting to feel like the oddball here. Like, the first year of the Darley contest was kind of cool. They were trying to figure things out. And it's like I got in just right at the right time. They say timing's everything. Yeah. But now it's like I'm the odd one. I'm not the first.
I don't even think of it that way at all.
It's That's wild, funny. But it's cool. It's cool. Yeah.
But they take such a gamble on that, some folks that are writers that may or may not be public speakers. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's really worked out every year so far. This was the third year that they allowed that to happen. And we've gotten to meet some awesome people from that. So TEAC's, big, huge shout out to you guys. Thank you for that opportunity for all of us. And as always, thank you to Darley for believing in us and making all of this possible for us.
I also want to say we started to see some people from out of state and specifically your home state of Virginia. We saw some folks there. So that's pretty amazing. I try to get people to go to this symposium from all over because it is truly one of the best.
Suffolk Fire. And there's a guy from Suffolk Fire in our class. And he mentioned that there were some Spotsylvania Fire guys or girls. I'm not sure. I didn't see them from Virginia. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, TEAC's making waves. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's right. All right. So while we were there, you guys heard our last episode. We recorded with Chief Jamie Howarth from Anne Arundel, Maryland. And that was a fantastic episode. Got to talk through her thoughts, which align exactly with Heat of Command podcast thoughts. And she is launching her podcast, which I believe she launched last night with Ignition Leadership. Is that right, Kyle? Is that what I think it is? I'm pretty sure it is. Let me look. Anyways, what else did we do while we were there, Kyle?
We ate some barbecue.
We ate barbecue.
I had too much.
Amazing street tacos.
Yeah, Ignition Leadership, that new podcast. Check it out.
Awesome. Cool. Very cool. And we taught our 2 classes, and that went stellar. But today's episode, we had a question during the second offering of our class that we don't feel like we fully addressed. And I think we should have asked some more questions to what he was asking of us and to understand what he really was asking. And then we want to just talk through some of our thoughts on what we think he may have been asking or some other stuff related to that topic. So Kyle was talking about the difference between being liked and being respected. And right?
Yeah.
No, you were just talking about being liked. Like, you don't always have to be liked, right?
Right. Leadership isn't about being liked necessarily. Now, this is, and we're going to get into it now. The big thing when you go out and speak, it's like you could hit some of your main topics just for a short period and you move on. And this is our opportunity to dive a little bit deeper into that of, what we kind of meant by liked versus respected and things like that.
Yeah. So, like Kyle said, we did a new class this year where normally we really hit hard on the soft skills and how to develop some of those, especially at the individual level and your values and all that good stuff and introspection. And this time we've delivered that class numerous times now. So we thought, let's expand on that. So we didn't get to hit that as hard. Mm-hmm. And maybe looking back, maybe we go back to that. I don't know. And still incorporate some of how it relates to emergency scenes in the fire ground. Because I think a lot of people are ready to hear that. It's just so interesting. Like, I think some people are ready to move to the next spot. And there's still so many people out there that need to hear the first message. So
Yeah,
it's like, what's the balance?
yeah, you are absolutely right. What's fascinating to me, I feel, as we've traveled and gone around, I feel like a lot of people are having the conversations me and you are having and starting to talk about the things that we're having or that me and you discussed. But I don't feel like there's much action behind people going and listening and hearing what we have to say, or other speakers go out and say they might agree wholeheartedly with what we have to say, but then there's no action that's behind it. It's almost like there's a lot of support for the cause, but yet what is the action behind it? And I think that's a lot that happens in our industry. Like, I look at mental health, very, very simple off the bat. And, we try to reduce suicides and we start talking about this and we do this and that. But at the end of the day, have we really affected change yet in that area? And when you look at some numbers and look at some things, it's like, no, because it's like to actually take that step and start doing these things. There's a level of vulnerability, maybe. There's a level of fear to be something that you're not used to being, I think, or being something that is against the norm of this culture. So I think there's a lot of fear. And, I think sometimes it's interesting. You can, you feed off the energy of your audience. And for all the speakers out there listening, it's very interesting that you could feed off that energy sometimes. And sometimes I feel like people are just out to kind of get us and say, no, 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 no. So there's the challenge. I think the challenge is always going to be there, and it's very hard. How do we overcome that? And we could keep having the conversations, but then it's like the action behind it all. Like, how do we start doing this stuff? Because I think that's it, right? We could talk until we're blue in the face, and there's multiple speakers and people who talk about this stuff all the time, and very well, right? Very good points and very good insights, and the information is extremely valuable. But then it's like applying it. How do we get people to start applying it is really that's the challenge, right?
I feel like the missing component is the recognition piece, because I think a lot of people agree with us. And we get a lot of head nods and a lot of
Oh yeah.
smiles and a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of yes, yes, yes. But if you don't recognize that you need to change, or you don't recognize that what you may really believe, honestly, that that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because it's what you want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to do, everybody wants to do the right thing. But if you don't, it, it, if you haven't asked somebody, or some sort of like 360 evaluation, or you haven't, you've really got to act, like we talk about, like being authentic is also what other people think of you. It's not just what you think of yourself
Mm-hmm.
and being true to yourself. It's how other people perceive you. It's you have to know and be willing to ask and get honest feedback, because I think a lot of people walk around with, I'm already doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already doing that.
And they're not even close to actually really doing it, right?
Or they go, that's really great. And I think I've seen some people that are like, I think that's great for certain people that have that personality, but that's not my personality. Because I know several leaders that are brash and abrupt, and they're like, well, this works for me. Like, yep, in certain areas, it really, really
Mm-hmm.
does. But you can still be tough and hold high expectations and expect outstanding performance, and use some of the stuff that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's twofold. Like, either you just don't know, don't recognize it in yourself, so you don't do the work,
Mm-hmm.
or you're like, well, that won't work for me. That's not my personality. I don't know.
Yeah, and we talk about this all the time when we go out and speak, and I'm sure we've probably mentioned it here, but if you really want to develop your leadership ability, I think, besides doing some introspective work and reading and examining yourself and all this stuff, go ask those people that you're around most what they think what is my personality, and ask them. And now, do you have that kind of relationship where they're going to be honest with you? That's a whole nother story, but if you have that relationship with certain people, go ask them, like, what do I come off as? Because if everybody says one thing and you want to disagree with them, well, you're in the wrong, they're right. Right? Because I think it's so true that so often we feel like we're one way. We feel like we're doing the right thing. We feel like, we hit it on the head, and you are so far off base. But you're too, I mean, for lack of better words, you're too cocky to open your eyes, and, your ego's just too big to allow anybody to tell you otherwise. And it's those same people that will say, humility and being humble. And it's like, well, let's put those words in action. And I think recently I was just talking about, actions versus words. And so now it's as we talk about this stuff and you listen and you start doing this work, it's what actions support the things that you're learning. How are we applying the stuff that we're learning? And that's the goal. But if you really want to know what you're like in your organization, go ask those people that you lead. Go ask your company in the firehouse. Go ask and see what they have to say. You might be blown away, and take it for what it's worth. Don't get defensive. Don't try to debate it. Keep your mouth shut and listen, right? Because being an effective leader is all about listening. Listen to what your people have to say and what they think about you. That'll open some eyes. So that'd be tough. And I get that is much easier to say over this microphone on this podcast than actually going out and doing. Totally get it. I understand. But I think there's really the challenge. Like, start with people closer to you that you trust, and then maybe branch out. I don't know.
Yeah. And we talk sometimes when we speak, and we've talked on here about how are you promoting and hiring people that display this behavior. And I really like when we do promotion processes is asking questions in the interview that will show someone's self-awareness. So we will ask questions like, your performance in the department is similar to a report card. What grade would you give yourself and why? And so it's a lot of, can you self-reflect on what have I done? What have I not done? What have I done well? What could I be doing better? And giving yourself a grade. And I always tell people, it's not really, I'm not looking at you for an answer that you say, I give myself an A+. I'm looking for the why. The answer is in the why. Like, okay, I give myself an A+ as a firefighter, but I'm going for promotion to an officer. So I know I'm going to drop down to a C because I'm not going to know everything. But I give myself an A because these are all the things I've done to prepare myself, blah, 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 blah. But it's a self-awareness question. And also asking people, if we ask your coworkers that work around you, what would they say your strengths and weaknesses are? Like, that's usually people have asked that, or they're self-aware enough to know. And sometimes we get people that answer and you're like, no, I those are not your strengths and weaknesses. And you can just tell in the answer. So, and you can also ask those questions to people you're hiring. You can ask that during a hiring process, ask questions about something that will reveal how self-aware they are. And people that have a lot of self-awareness, man, they're so easy to work with and to supervise because you usually don't even have to correct them.
Yeah.
They know. So anyways, soapbox.
That was quite the soapbox we got on to get going. So let's get back to being liked and respect and how those terms correlate, how they differ, and kind of what we're looking for. We were talking before we got on the podcast, and sometimes it's very interesting to me, there's the cliche terms that we talk about, and sometimes I think they just need to be reinforced, and to me, that's kind of odd because it's some simple topics that I think many agree out there. And I think when it comes to leadership specifically, and that's something I learned long time ago back in the military, you have to respect rank, but you don't have to respect the person. And, is that the kind of leader that you want to be, where they're forced to just respect what you wear on your collar, but they don't respect you as all as a person? Is that really effective leadership? I don't think it is. And that, I think, goes down that fear-based leadership if that's the way they view you in that position. So here in 2025, it's like, how do we move forward from that? How do we make that, how we respect our leaders, but because we respect them, we like them because of what they're doing.
Yeah. And the question was asked, about, I might not necessarily be liked, but I want to be respected.
Right.
And the hope is that if you want to be respected, you want to be respected for the right reason. You want to be respected because you're doing the right thing for your folks, you're doing the right thing for your organization, you're doing the right thing for yourself and your group. And I think if you're doing that and you're being respected for the right reasons, you are being liked.
Mhm.
Now, people won't like every decision you make. Right? People won't like when you hold them accountable, and they might respect you for doing that because they need it. But for the most part, people like the leaders that they respect.
Mhm.
So I think it goes hand in hand. So I don't think you're going to be disliked, but be respected.
Right.
I
don't
think that's few and far between. Like, I can't think of.
I don't even see how that would be possible.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless you force somebody, like the new people come in, like when we probably started, like you came in and you just automatically, without knowing anything about anybody, you respected. And I think it was based out of fear, right? Because you just didn't know what you're getting yourself into. And then like you grow up and you mature within the industry and with any part of society or corporate structure. And then you start realizing like respect and like do go hand in hand. And if I don't like you, I'm not going to respect you. Like, are you kidding? Why? Yeah. Give me a reason, right? I don't know.
Yeah, that was, yeah. And I really wish we would have asked more about what he was really asking and if that's what it was, or, if it sounded like we answered, what he was looking for, but just the more we thought about it, the more we wanted to talk about it and kind of get into it on here since we have a little bit more time. But
yeah. The way I answered it during the class, and I don't know, again, if this was the right way, but the way I initially heard what he was asking was if people are liked but not respected. And I think that's possible. I think you can like people but not respect them in the position that they're in.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I totally think that's possible. And if like you would rather be respected than like in that context, I get it. Because I think there's a lot of like people pleasers out there, people that say yes to everything and everybody likes them. But at the end of the day, do they respect them in the position of authority they might have, or, the leadership role that they have? Do they respect that of them? And, sometimes that's a no, right? And although they have everybody likes them, not very many people respect them. And in that context, like I get that, I can see that. And, that's that kind of that people pleasing. I just want to make everybody happy, regardless of how good or bad I am in my leadership role. And so that aspect I can see in terms of, when we compare the words being liked and respected. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And one of my coworkers, one of the other BCs I work with, he calls those people nice guys.
Yeah.
They'll say, yeah, he's a nice guy.
Right.
And when he says that, I know that means he doesn't respect him.
Mm-hmm.
Or her. So he's a nice guy. Nice guy, just not doing what we hope.
Right. Or being respected as, when we look at, like I said, some of the biggest traits that I look at is critical decision making and high levels of composure. So again, you could
and competence.
And competence, right? And confident. Yeah, it's our whole pie chart.
Yes, our pie chart. I wish we could flash a pie chart up right now.
Yeah. One day we'll get the video worked and get it up on YouTube.
Yes. So, yeah, I'm glad we talked through that. I feel better about it.
Yeah, so do I.
Yep. Okay. All right. Well, the next thing we'll throw out there for you guys is the Heat of Command podcast is going to rebrand.
We are.
And we feel a couple different reasons for that. We feel like there's a lot of other industries out there that might be interested in our message and that we would love to share with, and we don't want to silo any of this information. And the other reason is the newer generation, we don't know if they would love the name. And so we're going to try something different. So we have been chat GBTing and AIing and brainstorming and all those things to see where we're going to go. It'll still be Kyle and Kerry, and it'll still be the same topics. And we're just going to have a different name probably.
Yeah, I think it's pretty awesome to get to this point too. As you look at the growth that we've had over the last year and a half and the direction that we've been going and our message and realizing more than the fire service needs it, and just being able to, provide a message that attracts the masses instead of just one kind of niche community, and bring a lot of the things that we have in this industry and our backgrounds into a much broader aspect of the working environment, I guess.
Yep. And I think it's time for us to bring in some non-fire service people to the
Yeah.
podcast and see their thoughts. And yeah, I think it'll be exciting stuff.
So it is exciting. It's always that growth, right? Looking forward and seeing the new challenges and how we can face those and keep moving forward and keep moving this message forward. So
yeah, as always, most of our examples are going to be fire service because that's what we live and breathe right now. So, but yeah.
But I think there's a lot of value in those experiences out in the other parts of the world as well, and working environments that some of these issues are not so in their face, yet they're there, So it's bringing those out and bringing just a different look into corporate structures and how they better can lead people based on the things that we've learned quickly and experienced within our professions as firefighters and our whole past. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, we definitely get a lot more opportunities to display a lot of different leadership scenarios and traits more so than some of the private industry stuff. So yeah. All right. Well, glad we got to chat today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully it warms up for you. And another thing we learned in Texas, people in Texas say Illinois.
They do. Yeah. That's not just Texas. That's a lot of places. They don't understand that the S is silent, but then it's interesting. There's a grocery store, a big chain here in Chicagoland called Jewel. Well, a lot of people in Chicago and the area, like where I grew up, I grew up right out of the city, we add an S to Jewel. So everybody knows Jewel is Jules. Right? We add an S. So it's just really weird, right? We take the S out of Illinois, but then we say Jules. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Midwestern people. It's that frigid cold that messes with our mind. When we were down in Texas, it's just interesting seeing people who are not used to that kind of weather have to deal with that kind of weather. It's not, I can honestly say, I don't know if I feel bad for you, but it was very interesting. Like the whole world's ending. And I was like, it's 25. You're good. Now the snow they got further south, that's wild. That is crazy.
Yeah.
But we're still laughing up here in the Midwest. So
yeah. All right. Well, until next time. Thank you all for our new listeners. Man, thank you. We're super excited for new listenership. Is that a word? New listeners?
Yeah, sure.
I'm making that up. Yeah, and all our new followers and subscribers and downloaders. We love having you.
As we wrap up another episode, this has been Kyle
and Kerry
from the Heat of Command podcast.
Thank you, as always, for listening. Please make sure to follow and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. And as always, we love the feedback. Keep it coming.
See you next time.